Hey y'all, on today's podcast, we help Sarah sell without being too salesy or spammy.
Welcome to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast, where life always comes before work. We're your hosts, Shane and Jocelyn Sams. We're a real family that figured out how to make our entire living online. And now, we help other families do the same. Are you ready to flip your life? All right, let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. It is so great to be with you today. Wherever you are listening to the show, thank you for listening. We're really excited to welcome another member of the Flip Your Life community onto the show so that we can help them overcome fears, break through obstacles, and take action on the next steps in their online business. Our guest today is Flip Your Life community member, Sarah Cottrell. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
Welcome, Sarah. I'm actually sensing a little theme here in the podcast. If you listened a couple weeks ago, we had another attorney on, and Sarah, of course, is an attorney. So tell us a little bit about you, your background, and your online business.
Well, so I worked as a lawyer for the last decade. I graduated from law school in 2008. And last summer, after the youngest and last of our kids was born, I left my legal job to stay home with them. But my path through being a lawyer was a pretty common story. This is true for a lot of lawyers, which is that I started practicing and pretty early on realized it was not for me in the long term. And so, however, we had a lot of student loan debt, and I say we because my husband is also a lawyer, and we actually met in law school, and combined between the two of us, we had over $400,000.
Oh my gosh. That is a lot of scary mountainous debt, yeah. Especially when you're like, I'm not going to use this degree anymore. Right?
Yeah, it's basically like you have a mortgage, except there's no asset associated with it other than your own blood, sweat, and tears.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Are you still in debt?
No, we paid off all of our debt last June, so June of 2018.
Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I can't even imagine having that much debt coming out of college.
And what a weight lifted. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah. So pretty much I was about 2 years into practicing when I realized like, this is just not for me in the long term. But when you have over $400,000 in debt, you can't just chuck it all and leave. So we had to make a plan to get out, and it had to be a long-term plan. A lot of like personal finance guru types will say, do all of these things and cut everything down and then pay off your debt in like 5 months and then you'll be great. Well, when you have a mortgage size level of debt, you have to have a little bit of a longer term plan that is survivable for, 5 or 10 years in my case. And so that's what we did. We made a plan and got out of debt, and that enabled us to be in a position where I was able to stay home with our kids. And I also have started doing some writing on the side, which is something that I've always been interested in, but with a full-time job and young kids, especially a job that was a lot of research and writing, not a lot of time for writing.
Well, for one thing, what's crazy, when you said we were telling your story, I was like, how was 2008 over 10 years ago? Like, I just saw this thing. I saw this thing on Facebook the other day, and it was like, people of a certain age, like, you always think the 70s or 30 years ago. And like, I do think that. Like, I'm like, when was 1970? At what, 30 years ago? When was 1980? What, 20 years ago? And really, 1980 was like almost 40 years ago, and it like doesn't. My brain. So when you said 2008, I was like, that doesn't even. How was that 10 years ago? For one thing. But then, like, getting out of debt in that short amount. That actually is a short amount of time to me to get out of $400,000 in debt. And like that's crazy that you did that. Like, and that's one of the things that hang people up that we always find coming into the community is like, well, you know, I got this college degree and then I was in this career and I've got so much time invested in this career that I just don't want to pivot. And like, kudos for you for having the guts to say, yeah, I'm not going any farther. 2 years is enough. Even though I've invested all this, I'll figure out how to use this later in my life.
Yeah. Well, and I think for lawyers in particular, you are trained to be extremely risk averse. So so what you're talking about, the sunk costs fallacy, I have all this money and time invested into it, so I can't leave. That's a very strong mental obstacle for many lawyers.
For sure.
And for us, I mean, I'm 2 years in, I'm thinking I don't want to be a lawyer forever, but I still worked as a lawyer for another 8 years.
Right.
And that was
but you had an end game in mind.
Exactly.
And that's institutionalized though in like almost all like businesses and industries, because when the day I resigned from my job, I slid the letter of resignation over to my principal and he looks at me and he goes, "Man, are you sure?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm 100% positive." And he goes, he's like, "But how long have you been teaching?" And I was like, "Yeah, I said 9 years. I'm going on my 10th year." And he goes, 9 years. And you're just going to throw all that away. You're just going to throw all that retirement away. And I looked at him and I was like, "Yeah, but there's 18 left before I can retire. Like, I'm not just going to sit here for 18 more years.
Just because we put 9 years in.
Yeah, I don't care how much time I've got put in it. I got the rest of my life to live." So anybody listening out there, Joss and I, full degrees, master's degrees, all this education, taught for almost a decade, we bailed because we wanted to go a different direction. Sarah was a lawyer and she didn't want to be. She had $400,000 invested in her education and decided to do something different.
Well, and I'll tell you, I was looking yesterday because I have one pesky student loan left, and it doesn't have a large balance, but we have one left. And I was
the reason I'll tell you why we keep that loan. This is so morbid, but if you die, those go away. So we're kind of like, we can pay it off early, or we could just use it as a reverse insurance policy if something ever happens. So it's just totally morbid logic for why we still have the student loan.
Well, I was looking yesterday just to see how much is not that much left on it. But anyway, that loan is for an MBA that I never finished. So to this day, I'm paying every month. It just comes out automatically, whatever. I pay every month for a degree I didn't even get. Yeah. But you know what? It's part of my life experience. It's part of the reason that I am the person I am today. I don't have any regrets. I'm not sitting here every month going, "Oh, I'm still paying for this degree that I don't even have." I don't even think about it, it's just part of my life. It's something I did. Is it Dave Ramsey that calls it the stupid tax? It's the stupid tax. We paid a lot of stupid tax in our life.
We have paid a whole lot of stupid tax in our life. But it's all part of your story, and it gets you where you're supposed to be at, right?
Exactly. Yes. I mean, to me, and this is part of why I created Former Lawyer, just because you put a lot of time and money into something, if it's not working for you, to say, well, I'm just going to keep doing it for another 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 decades it's actually crazy. But especially because lawyers are so risk averse, it's very hard to get over that hurdle and say, I'm going to spend the next 5 years getting myself out of this situation into a better situation, even though ultimately that's what's going to be better for you in the long run.
Okay, so you sort of mentioned just there in passing what it is that you're doing now. So you left your job and you started a website. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the site is called formerlawyer.com. And the purpose, sort of the overall purpose of Former Lawyer, is to provide support and inspiration to unhappy lawyers who want to make a career change. So right now, what that looks like is there's a blog, there's a podcast. I'm actually starting to record episodes this week. And what I'll be doing is in each episode, I'm going to be interviewing a lawyer, a former lawyer, someone who used to work as a lawyer and now works in some sort of other career. And my goal is also to have some sort of membership component. But that's the piece that I am still working on. The other pieces, I have a little bit more clarity.
For one thing, that's an amazing domain name, formerlawyer.com. Like, that's a masterclass in naming your business, because it tells everything about what it is, right? Like the Former Lawyer podcast, the Former Lawyer blog, formerlawyer.com. It's just so tight and good, and it's a 2-word domain. Like,
that 2word.com, like those are almost impossible to come by.
So that is an awesome domain name and a name for your business. And I can almost, it's when you say it out loud, I can kind of envision it like a miserable lawyer is driving to court to represent some dude or a lady in a divorce that he just doesn't even want to be in court that day, right? And he's like, man, and he's listening to your podcast, interviewing someone who like broke out of the prison, right? Yeah. And he hears that, and she hears that, and it's like hope, right? So I could totally do that. And you said something interesting in your intake form that you fill out before you're on the podcast. Like, I don't see myself as a guru that tells people, do this and end up where I am. Like, this seems like this is more of just an like John Lee Dumas model, where you're not claiming to be the guru. You're just interviewing people who have done this and giving people ideas and pushing them out that way. Is that what I'm getting from that? Am I hearing that correctly?
Yes. Yeah. And part of that is, for every person, it's so, every person's issues are so individualized, and their strengths, their financial situation, whether they have a spouse or don't have a spouse, or a significant other, there are just so many things that impact, when you're making a plan, for example, to get out of debt, how long it will take, what it is that you actually want to do. And so, there are some people out there who are former lawyers who do specifically career coaching, where they're, telling someone like, here's what you need to do, and this is the job that you should be looking for, and those sorts of things. But what I see as a need, is less so here, let me tell you exactly what you specific person should be doing, and more this idea of, it can feel really lonely, one, because you're like, am I the only crazy person who doesn't actually want to be a lawyer and is thinking about walking away from this thing that I put all this money and time into? And also, it can feel like a lot of, you might have family and friends who are like, what are you doing? Like, you're throwing away this thing that they perceive as so great, because they don't necessarily understand all of the drawbacks of what it is to work as a lawyer.
For sure.
And then also, it's just the length of time. I mean, again, like, we're not necessarily talking about someone saying, I want to get out, and they do, 3 months and they're out. We're talking about sometimes, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. And that's a long time to be doing something on your own without other people saying, hey, like, you're doing great, you're going to get out, keep going.
Sure. Basically. Yeah, I think that's really good. That's really, really good. And like, it just fits the motif of the former lawyer. And like, people will look at you like, what was the guy's name? What was Morgan Freeman's character's name? Gosh, from Shawshank Redemption. Somebody go send me that on Facebook message. But it's like, Andy Dufresne, not him. It's like you're Andy Dufresne. You got out. You got out of the prison. You're in Mexico on the beach. It's like, whatever. Like, you're the other side of where they want to be. Like the story. So it's like, you have we always say like instant street cred. Like, you did it once. You don't have to do it more than that, right? To like be this expert that can actually present this story and then show other stories of other people who've made it. So that's awesome. So you got a lot going on.
Yes.
A lot of stuff that you've created, and you're actually you're already creating content. How many blog posts do you have on formerlawyer.com?
So I think there are about, I want to say 8 or 9 currently, and I have stuff scheduled to post 3 times a week. I'm currently only batching like a week ahead. So
this is still in the infancy of everything, right? It's all being created.
Oh yeah, like June. It all launched in June. So
when did you buy that domain name?
Oh, years ago. I mean, like before I even knew when I was going to be getting out of the law.
Like, give me an estimate of when you bought that.
I think it was 3 to 5 years ago.
So all of you people sitting on your old dusty domains that you bought 5 years ago, dust them off and get to work. You got to get some blog posts going. It's time to start building that online business.
Okay, so you started working on content. First of all, 3 times a week is very ambitious, and I applaud you for trying to do it. I don't know that it's 100% necessary. Like, it might take some pressure off you for now just to schedule the post out for like once a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I would not go.
Okay.
Yeah. Be prolific with your promotion, not necessarily your content in the beginning. Like we have 3 rules. Like 1, be consistent with your content. For us, that's a weekly podcast, right? Could be more, could be less, but we're going to have a podcast. 2, be prolific with your promotion. That's like sharing and ads and things like that. Like write 1 post and promote it for 7 days, then write another post. Okay. And relentlessly sell. Like sell every day to your list. Sell every day on your social media. Sell every time somebody asks you a question, because everybody's only 1 question away from giving you money. Right. So like think of it that way. Like when you're thinking about being consistent and being prolific, especially in the beginning, because like Jocelyn said, you can burn yourself out really fast. And we don't want you to we don't want you to be formerblogger.com here in about 6 weeks. Okay. So,
so I think one of the reasons that I have been so prolific with content since starting, not that long ago, it goes back to sort of, one of the concerns that I have of, I want to feel like I am providing value. And so it's sort of this issue in my mind of, I need to show that I have something to provide. And therefore I think I've been focusing more on the content creation because I don't want to feel like I'm selling nothing. Does that make sense?
It does, for sure. And that's why we're going to talk about this here in a few minutes when we get to your like business question. Like I don't hear a lot of talking about what you're selling, what the product is. And I was reading a book this morning. I've got this book on leadership, and it said, let me word this correctly. Our society loves the sound of hammers. We love the sound of the hammer and the nail and the wood and the building of things. But nobody likes to make a plan. And that's the thing, is you can have a pile of wood, a box of nails, and a truckload of hammers. You can throw the workers out there and you can say, go start hammering, see what happens. And nothing will happen. It'll just be a bunch of wood hammered together. But if someone walks in and goes, here's the blueprint, this is the finished product, this is what we're selling, we have 6 weeks to put it together, let's go. That's going to create something, right? So it's not necessarily just, I'm going to write a blog, I'm going to start a podcast, I'm going to have a Facebook page, I started an Instagram last night, I bought
maybe something cool will happen.
Maybe something cool will happen. I'll get some value out there and people will love me. Like even if you became the most popular person on earth, you would still have nothing to show for it because there would be no product, nothing for sale. So we always recommend that people start with a product first mindset. And figure out at least the basics of what it's going to look like on the end. And then it will evolve into what your customers want as you talk to them and get them. So you're probably just swinging a lot of hammers right now. And that's why it feels like you're trying to get busy instead of start building a business.
Okay, so I'm going to make a little bit of an assumption here based on some of the information that you put in your form and also kind of what I'm hearing from you. I'm assuming that you do not really want to make a type of product that basically tells people their next steps. Am I right in that?
Or like what their job is or something like that?
Yes. So sort of what I envision is something more like this. Okay, membership community where you can come in and talk with other people who are in similar stages. I actually am in a writing membership. And one of the things that they do is sort of facilitate people forming like smaller affinity groups. So say people who are like in a certain city and are all looking to get out of the law, or people who want to leave and be stay-at-home parents, people who, I don't know, are getting ready to quit their job in the next 12 months, whatever. So facilitating things like that. And then also in terms of the podcast content, there are some questions that I'm planning to ask our guests that might be a little bit more like things they don't necessarily want to be just blasting out into the entire universe. And that would be stuff that would be available within the membership to members only.
Like a private place to share, like anybody around them kind of deal.
Yes. And then, so those are sort of the thing, and just the general, like, I'm new and I'm trying to make a plan, and what have you done, people who might be in a sort of similar situation. Because the other thing is many people who are lawyers and want to get out have not thought about what else they want to do ever. Sure. And so I know so many people who hit this point of, I don't want to be doing this anymore. And they are just like, I don't even know what's out there.
It's like a pro athlete that gets too old to play. They don't know what's next. They have this is all they've ever done. Yes. Kind of deal.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let me jump in here real quick, because there's two things I'm hearing. And I'm actually going to read this question you wrote in your form instead of let you do it, because I hear this happening. Okay. We have a question in our form that says, what fears, mindset, and obstacles are holding you back? And you say, I don't want to be spammy. I don't want to be too salesman-y or seem like I'm trying to sell people something unrealistic. I hear a dramatic fear of commitment to your product because you don't want to go sell something to somebody. Like, I really feel like this might be like a major issue holding you back, because and when I'm looking through everything you've done everything but address, like, you've kind of thought about the product or the membership, but it just sounds like with all of your questions and everything, like, you're scared to sell these lawyers something, right? And like, is it because like you feel like it's like you're selling a dream to them, or you're selling hope to them, or is it like what is this fear of maybe even selling yourself a little bit that you have that's kind of keeping you from saying, hey, this is the product. I know people will join it. Let me write a sales page for this right now. Like, what is that? Because this is a membership. Like, and like, there's no, right now I don't hear a lot of content. So it's almost like this could be open next week if you really wanted it to, but something's keeping you from doing that.
Yes. I mean, and I think the primary thing is, well, there are two things. One is the more, I don't know, like high level meta thing, which is that I feel like many lawyers were sold a certain line of like what their life was going to be like. And then they got into the law and that wasn't accurate for them. And I do not want to, while I know there's a lot of value in what I'm wanting to provide, I do not want people to feel like I'm saying, join this membership and everything in your life will magically become better and you will be just like me and you'll be able to leave the law.
So what you really don't want is you were sold that lie and you resent the lie that you were sold, and you don't want to be resented by someone else the way you resent being a lawyer.
Yes. I do not. I don't want to prey on people's desperation to get out of the law.
Well, the problem, but you're not.
Right.
You're not doing that, right? That's not true, correct? Like, you are not doing that. You're wanting to help people. Okay. Yes. So that's the truth. Okay. Now, you can't help that the fact is they are desperate. They are desperate for a career change. They are desperate to get out. They are desperately in debt and might need someone to show them how to handle that. Right. So like, it's not your fault that they're desperate. Okay. It's a fact that they're desperate. And the truth is you want to help them and show them that there is another way. So the truth and the facts are not aligning with your actions here. They're not. Now your feelings, one thing you said the 4-letter word in our house. Whenever we start a sentence with, I feel like, we go, whoa. Conversation stops right there. Hold on. What do you mean you feel like? Is that real? Is it factual? Is that the truth? Like, facts don't care about our feelings, right? So this seems like the major mindset issue here that you're struggling with is you feel, and you've told yourself this story, and you don't want the end of the story to be someone's mad at you. but that does not match the facts and the truth of the matter, that your intentions are good. They are desperate and need help, and you can help them.
Yeah, and this is something that kind of goes through my mind at times also, with just by the nature of what we do, because there are a lot of people out there who are selling the dream, and if you pay me $1,000, I will help you buy a Lamborghini
for $997. All your dreams will come true. End of the webinar. Here we go.
There are a lot of people out there who are selling that kind of dream, and a lot of people out there might look at what we do and say, oh, well, you're just doing the same thing. But, our truth is that we want to help people who feel like there is no other way and they need to do something different in their life. And, we're here honestly to help people. And, it's just something that you have to kind of like reconcile with yourself. Just, I'm here to help people. If other people want to perceive it another way, that's their problem. It's not my problem.
What's that counselor friend you've got that says, what does she always say, Jocelyn? It's
Heather Gray.
Yeah, what's Heather say? That's not the story. What's the story or the?
Yeah, it's like the stories that you tell yourself. And so, one of the things that she says to do is to say, some people might say this, but what I want you to know is something else.
Right. So if you said some people might say, I'm just preying on the desperation of lawyers who want to quit their job.
But what I want you to know is that I felt this way. And the reason that I'm doing this is because I want to help other people in the same situation.
Yeah.
Yes. You're 100%.
You've got to reconcile that today. We're recording this, guys. That's the 4th of July. It's the 4th of July right now, y'all. So
it's a holiday.
It's a holiday, but we're working. We're helping Sarah. We're getting after it here. But listen, it's the day of freedom. So set yourself free. Be free of all that nonsense, because it is not true. And you honestly, this is heavy. You may be the only person that possibly can help them, right? If you don't help them, then nobody else is going to say this stuff, right? Because 99.9% of people don't want to let their family down. They don't want to quit the job. You're a doctor or a lawyer, you're successful, right? And right. If they don't have a trailblazer to say, I did it, I'm going to introduce you every week to somebody else who did it, they may never hear that story that inspires hope, that gives them a chance to change their life, right?
Yes.
And that's what we do. That's what you're doing. You're just doing it for a different segment of the population. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Sarah, we're busting through the mindset issues, but now let's talk about how we are going to make some money. How can we help you with your offer?
So basically, I'm trying to figure out how to prioritize content creation and what I'm creating, when to start selling and the membership or product, how to do a beta launch if that's something that I should be doing, and how to price it. And basically all the questions.
Okay.
Basically, you're like, I'm making vlogs. I don't know what else to do. Is that what you're saying?
We'll be here until the fireworks tonight, in other words. Okay. All right. So let's kind of just break this down. I think that Shane and I kind of have some different ideas, and it's going to be kind of interesting moving forward about, what we think you should do. And ultimately, it's about what you want to do. So, take all this in and just sort of think about it. Basically, right now, we have nothing for sale, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
But you want to sell a support group for these attorneys, basically.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like you want to create anything. You just want to have them to have kind of a place to go. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. I think there's an aspirin versus vitamin argument here a little bit, or like aspirin, or something we have to kind of think about. One, I'm not sure how practical that is, in my opinion. Okay. Because, to me, it's it's like a support group. You're alone. You want to talk to other lawyers who might want to quit their jobs. That's kind of a vitamin. But there's a lot of serious headaches. Well, how do I get out of $400,000 in debt? How do I re-identify myself as something else? That's an aspirin.
How do I talk to my family about why I'm doing this?
Yeah. There's a lot of huge obstacles that you're going to have to solve for people, headaches that you're going to have to provide them an aspirin for before you ever get to the vitamin. And usually the vitamin almost goes first. You know what I'm saying? Like the vitamins are free, the aspirin costs money, right? If I've got a headache, I'm going to get up at midnight and run to Walmart to get some aspirin because I need to fix this headache. It hurts. If I wake up at midnight and I forgot to take my vitamin C, guess what? I'm not going to Walmart until tomorrow. It's not urgent, right? So that's what we say when we say, is this an aspirin or is this a vitamin? So I think at face value, it's kind of a vitamin. It's kind of like, is it really that urgent that I join this community? It might be, they might listen to your podcast. They might read your blog posts, right? But are they really going to go the next level if there's nothing like in it to them to solve their actual practical problems that they have? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what we've got to figure out are some different ways that we can highlight the headache and make this thing, where they're willing to get up out of bed, go to the computer, get out their wallet, and order the bottle of aspirin.
Okay, but before we go there, I want to present a possible other solution. So usually we will fall on the side of creating your own product and selling it. That we like that is because that is what we have always done. However, I do think that there are some other ways, especially with things that are like this kind of vitamin-y, where you can make money and it's a little bit less work. So I just want to kind of throw this out there, and then we can kind of talk about which way is more appealing to you. So basically what I hear Shane saying is that what you could do is address some of the hard issues that are facing people who want to get out of this field. Okay. So I think what he's trying to say is that you could create some content that would help people with these big headaches, right?
In a way, like I think that's the draw into the membership. I think the membership is good, but I almost think that the membership itself should be totally free. Like it should be almost like a thing that they could sign up for and start connecting with these other attorneys, with these other lawyers, and basically it's your lead magnet. Like the forum itself, the community itself, whatever it looks like, is something you could just let listeners in, right? So if you've got a podcast, if you've got the thing at the end of it, you say, "Hey, come join the former lawyer community. This is a private community that we can let people in and have that private support group ready to go." It could be like an opt-in. I know a lot of places that use forums or a community-driven approach to their lead magnets. Like it's a place where you can go hang out. There's no barrier to entry, low-hanging fruit, all that stuff. And then I was thinking in the community, on your email list, you could create content that just showed how you did it, right? Like one of the things you said that really stood out to me before was, hey, everybody else in these other places, they can pivot, they can quit their job, they can go a different direction. But for a lawyer, it's a long-term plan, right? And that's the dream. You're not selling I'll get you out of your law debt and fix careers in 6 months. It's, if you want the fast plan, go somewhere else. This is the long-term plan. And then inside of that, you show them content that addresses these things. You have a course called How to Tell Your Friends and Family. You have a course called How to Pay Off your student loan debt without being a lawyer for the next 40 years of your life. And that content then is what you sell, almost like an advanced tier. Like these people are all lawyers who are dreaming, interacting together, but then the content is led by you, and it's the lawyers who are actually taking action. So you're the 20%. You're the people that are actually taking action. You're going to do it. And then maybe you do like Q&As each month. So that's what I was thinking.
Okay. So that's probably the way that we would do it, just based on our history and because, creating content is fairly easy for us to do. But another way that sort of popped into my head to do this might be I was also on board with the free community, because in the age of social media, it's really easy to find groups of people who have something in common, basically. So, I can go on to Facebook, I can go onto LinkedIn, I can look up these groups and find people who are probably similar to me. But with you having the podcast, I think that's a really good vehicle for you to be able to do some other things. Like I think about one of the podcasts that I support. So I've talked about several times on the podcast that I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts and other types of media. But anyway, one of the podcasts that I support is Crime Junkie, which is one of the top 10 podcasts in the world right now. But the reason that I support them, it's not something that I really need. It's definitely a vitamin in my life. It's not an aspirin, but they will create extra content for their fan club. So I joined their fan club because I love their podcast so much and I want to hear more content. So I think that could be an opportunity for you. I think also selling affiliate products might be an opportunity for you. So if you don't want to go and create all these courses, create this amazing community for people to come to and, either take on sponsorships for your show of things that might be of interest to people who are leaving the law profession. Or you could also find courses that other people have created for these same things and be an affiliate for them.
Yeah.
So,
or she could even sell like other biz op stuff. Like there's a lot of people out there selling like how to start a business, like ClickFunnels. They do a lot of stuff like that, like how to come up with your idea, how to set up your sales pages. And they have an affiliate program to get people to sign up for ClickFunnels. There's other places that teach like real estate, like Bigger Pockets. Like they have an affiliate program, I think, for their stuff where it's like learn how to do real estate instead of be a lawyer. So you could promote that stuff.
There's
on your
probably
podcast.
Courses out there how to get out of enormous amounts of student loan debt. And so you could be an affiliate for that type of program.
So build an audience, then be like an affiliate. But I would only pick stuff that was high ticket if that was true, though, because you're going to need any affiliate sales to make a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like every time it happens, because it'll be
right.
than normal.
Yeah. So let's kind of go through some of the benefits. The benefits of having your own stuff, obviously, is that you get all the profit. I mean, minus cost, of course. Also, it is under your control, like nothing's going to change, all that kind of stuff. The drawbacks is that it's going to take time. It's going to take energy. It's going to take effort. And, with the affiliate stuff, it's just the opposite. Like the benefits is that it's already completed for you and you just sell it. But the drawback is that
you have to build a huge audience to make affiliates work.
And
like you got to have a good lead capture. But that could work, though, because of the forums.
You don't have complete control. There are some different things that you have to consider for each side. But I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not something that we recommend for all people. But I think in this case, it might possibly work.
And like, how big is well, there's a lot of lawyers that probably hate being a lawyer. How many lawyers are there? Like, can you build a big enough audience of lawyers who hate their jobs to build an affiliate thing? I don't know. Like, how many lawyers are there in the country? I'm going to look that up.
I would have to go back and look at the data. But I mean, I think every year, I don't want to say a wrong number because I'm just not completely.
Don't worry, I'm looking it up on Google. We have the sum of all human knowledge at our fingertips. Right. At this time,
the magic of Google.
All right, there are 450,000 lawyers right now practicing in the United States. There are 34,000 new ones every year. Let's just assume that half of those hate their job, right?
Accurate.
Yes. Yeah. So you've probably got 200. You've got an audience size of somewhere between 200 and 300,000 people to go out there and put this out there to your podcast. Then it's just a matter of converting those either into affiliate sales or whatever. She could even, Jocelyn, couldn't she do the affiliate sales inside of the community? Like instead of her creating the stuff, like on the podcast, say, hey, come join the former lawyer community if you want to learn how to leave the law profession. And then you could populate it with other people's stuff that already exists if you don't want to sell your own thing.
Or you can also sell sponsorships on your podcast. So that's another thing that, the crime podcasts that I listen to, they do that.
Like you could reach out to someone who sells a biz op opportunity. Because like, I don't think you're going to be able to promote this. You've got to show them a path to get out of debt and get out of their job. If you don't do that, they're not just going to go hang out for a support group. Like they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So you've got to have some kind of path. So you just have to figure out how to populate that path with content, right? Either create it yourself or you go out and you promote other people's stuff.
That makes sense to me. So the affiliate thing, that is a little bit clearer to me. The other piece, Shane, that you were talking about if I were to do my own thing, are you just saying like creating courses that I would then promote to the members in the community?
Yes. Like you would basically do, this is probably more of a free membership course driven webinar model. If you really, no matter how you do it, because your freebie is the support group. I'm trying to think this through. And then you would have maybe like weekly webinars selling a different aspect of the journey. whether it's promoting someone else's thing or yours or something like that. So like, I would think like, but you're just telling your story. Like, how did you get out of debt? Like, all you got to do is say, I will show you how I got out of debt, which enabled me to leave the legal profession. So that's a webinar. You sell the course, and it's just your steps that you took, your plan that you created, and they're open to follow it or not. That's not what your job is, not to make them follow your plan. It's to give them an opportunity to follow your plan.
And so essentially, if your community is free, instead of advertising other people's stuff, you would advertise your own products,
Exactly.
if that makes sense.
Right.
And actually, you could do both. Like you could.
That's what I was just going to ask.
Yeah, you could totally do both.
Because there are certain things that I feel like I could create a course and I feel confident that it would be helpful for people. But there are other things that I think would be helpful for people that I'm just not the expert on that thing.
Like what? Name one. What are you an expert in? Let's start there.
Well, I guess I would say the things that I feel like I know something about are, one, making a long-term plan to get out of debt.
Boom. That's the first product, right there.
I would say getting out of debt. I would say you're probably pretty good at that.
You did it. You paid up for it. Doesn't matter how long it took you, right? Like I love this. I love the alternative pitch there too of it's not the get rich fast. It's the, hey, look, that's not true. Those people are wrong. This is the long-term plan. This is what I did. Bam. That's a product, right?
Yes. Yeah. But then, like, for example, I don't necessarily, I think I could talk to people sort of about like how to start thinking about what you want to do. But in terms of like specific career coaching, like I want an individual person to hold my hand and help me figure out what to do.
Sure.
There are other people who do that and I think do it well. And I don't necessarily want to be doing that individual hand holding, but there are other people that I could refer people to that would be helpful.
Then this is all you have to do then. You're the bridge. Okay. That's how you have to view yourself. You build the community on your podcast. You give the Former Lawyer podcast, right? You give people hope by letting them hear testimonials and stories of you and other people who have actually left the legal profession and got to be debt free, right? You tell them, come join a bunch of other lawyers in a safe place where you can talk about not wanting to be a lawyer. It's free. Come join our free community. You sell them one thing, the long-term plan to get out of debt. Okay, you can do that on a weekly webinar where all of your members, you invite them, they show up, and you sell the product, and the product can be $497. They're lawyers. It could be more if you wanted it to be, right? They've got disposable income. So you sell that. You have this nice engine generating, however many sales a week of thousands of dollars, okay? But at that point, and this is how all online businesses work, you sell them one thing, and then to make real money, you sell the next thing. Then you create a portfolio of affiliates who you might promote twice a month. So maybe 2 times a month, you sell them your get out of debt long-term plan. That's all you sell. And then you sell them into other affiliates. Like maybe you go what do you want to be? You go find someone. Maybe there's somebody that teaches people how to become writers. Like you said, you like to writing, right? Maybe there's a lot of lawyers that would like to become writers. So you have them come on for a guest webinar and sell their product. You get 40% of whatever sold. Okay. And you just find this portfolio of 6 to 12 good affiliates over time that maybe you want to be in real estate. We'll have a real estate coach on and sell their product, and then you get out. Your job is to be the bridge and the guide. Bridge them across the debt problem, and then introduce them to people that can help them find a new career. That's it. That's the whole business model, and all you have to do is podcast to drive the leads. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, so are we feeling pretty good about that?
I think so.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming right now, but the good thing is you got a lot of things in place, and you really only have to just get the content out there and maybe create that one course. Would probably be like a course of that way. You could go ahead and say the community exists. There's a course inside within a month if you would just create it, and then you can start looking for affiliates as you grow. And you know what's funny is you're going to find affiliates because these former attorneys are going to be selling something when they come on your podcast. I guarantee you. Right? Like, what'd you do? I bought 10 houses, some apartments. Now I teach people how to do real estate. Oh, you do? Well, how about you teach my former lawyers how to do real estate? Like, that's where you're going to find all these affiliate programs from. Cool.
That makes sense. So I have one question about that, which is, should I start? Okay, so I have Restrict Content Pro on my site. I just haven't actually done anything with it.
What is that? I didn't hear that.
Oh, Restrict Content Pro. It's like it's a forum software. Yeah, membership forum software. So I have that already. Should I be waiting to actually open the membership until I have created the course, or should I be?
No, I think it's your main lead. I think it's your when you start recording those podcasts, episode 1 at the end should say, go to blank.com and sign up for a free account to the former lawyer membership site, whatever you call it, the former lawyer community, where even if you're still a lawyer, but you don't want to be, we want you in there. It's a safe place to talk. You make a pitch for it, basically.
Yeah, and every blog post you write, every piece of content should all be pointing there.
And then when you create this first product, that's going to be like your seed product, so you have your own thing, you can go ahead and create that and then put that in there and sell it to those people, right? And then you can start finding these other affiliates to sell the other stuff too. I
love that, because I feel like I want to help people, and that makes me feel like I'm helping people.
Love it.
What if you just connected them and got them out of debt, and then you told them how to get a new job? That's amazing. You know what I'm saying? Send them to us. We'll be an affiliate. No,
all right, Sarah, it has been so much fun talking to you today. I can't wait to see what happens next in your journey. But before we go, we always like to ask our guests, what is one thing that you plan to take action on based on what we talked about here today?
I am going to put together an outline for the course that I'm going to create for the membership.
That is an awesome action step. Product first, get that done, get those podcasts recorded. Who knows? Sarah, you might be selling those before we know it, okay? And it won't be salesy, and it won't be bad, and it won't be desperate. It'll be awesome, because you're going to free a lot of people from the bondage of a career they found themselves trapped in, okay?
I'm excited.
All right, guys, that wraps up another great episode of the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. Cannot wait to see what Sarah does with her online business, and we cannot wait to see what you do with your online business as well. So dust off that old domain, recharge that dream, and get started. If you don't start, you can't finish, and we would love to help you get started over at flippedlifestyle.com/flipyourlife. You can check out all the information about the Flip Your Life community. We have all the content, community, and coaching you need to finally get your online business done, take it to the next level, and who knows, someday, maybe even flip your life. So go to flippedlifestyle.com/flipyourlife. We would love to help you inside of our community. And who knows, maybe someday you will be a guest right here on the Flip Lifestyle Podcast. And also, we would love to see you in Lexington, Kentucky this September 19th through the 21st for Flip Your Life Live. This is our conference where we're going to connect you with over 100 family-focused entrepreneurs from around the world, go through some amazing content covering lots of things, sales strategies, traffic strategies, and other things to grow your online business. That's happening this September. You can go to flippedlifestyle.com/live. There are only a few tickets left, and here is a huge announcement, guys. We are not doing Flip Your Life Live conference in 2020. So this is probably going to be your last opportunity, your last chance to come to Lexington, to come and meet over 100 members of the Flip Your Life community, to come hang out with me and Jocelyn and take your business to the next level live and in person. That's happening again September 19th through the 21st in Lexington, Kentucky. Go to flippedlifestyle.com/live to see if any tickets are still available. There were only a few left when we recorded this promo, so you need to go there right now if you plan on it again. Don't put it off. You can't wait till next year. It's not happening next year. It's probably not going to happen any point in the future. This is the last large Flip Your Life Live conference. We'd love to have you there in Lexington, Kentucky this September. That's all the time we have for this week, guys. But before we go, we would love to share a Bible verse with you. Jocelyn and I draw a lot of our inspiration in life and business from the Bible. And today we are super excited because Sarah, our guest today, has a Bible verse she would like to share with you.
One of my favorite Bible verses is Colossians 1:17, which says, "And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together." And I just love that verse because it reminds me that ultimately my identity is in Christ. And I do the work, but he is the one who holds all things together. and I can trust him.
Awesome reminder. I think that all of us need that reminder from time to time.
All right, guys, that is all the time we have for this week. So until next time, get out there, take action, and do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then.
Bye.